Borrowing numbers in subtractions is a common practice, but it will only apply in certain questions. Let's take this question for an example. 21 minus 17. Remember, the first number is placed on top. Now let's subtract under the unit. 1 minus 7. But wait, it is not possible to take away 1 from 7. It's like this. Imagine if you have 7 footballs, and your friend has 1 football. You ask your friend if you can take away 7 footballs. But your friend does not have 7 footballs, he only has 1. So your friend borrows 1 football from his neighbor, number 2, who lives under the tens. The neighbor now only has 1 football left. And your friend has 11 footballs. Remember this, when borrowing, like we have done so just now. It just adds a 10 to the number. This is how the number 1 turned to 11. So now you can take away 11 from 7, and the answer under the unit is 4. Now let's take away the numbers under the tens. 1 take away 1 is 0. So the answer is 4. Remember, when borrowing a number, you can only borrow within the upper numbers, not from the lower numbers. And if the neighboring number value is 0, and you need to borrow a number, you keep moving along until you find a value in which you can borrow from. For example, 400 minus 399. We can already work this out in our heads. But on paper, you can work this out through the following process. First, 0 take away 9. This is not possible, so we borrow from the nearest neighbor under the tens. The neighbor also has a 0 value, so we move on to the next neighbor, which is under the hundreds. We can borrow from this figure as the value is higher than 0. The 4 is cancelled to a 3. And the value, under the tens, 0, now becomes a 10. The next process is to borrow again from this 10. Now it becomes a 9, and the 0 under the unit becomes a 10. Now it is possible to subtract. Let's subtract under the units. 10 minus 9 is 1. Then subtract under the tens. 9 take away 9 is 0. Now let's subtract under the hundreds. 3 take away 3 is 0. And the overall answer is 1. Now try to answer this example. Pause the video, and once you have worked out the answer, read below.